safer world is possible, and together we can and will make it happen. Thank you.
When you show up in community, you find that group that makes you feel like home, but oftentimes you also find yourself again.
And I don't take nothing away from the fact the public are angry about this. But the question is, how does the king respond? The king. I think back to when Prince Harry was lobbying accusations at the monarchy just after the king became king back in the autumn of 2022. And for about 12 weeks non-stop, you had Harry with his 6-part Netflix series, followed by his book Spare and all the interviews around it. And there were these constant accusations being lobbed at the monarchy. And he didn't respond. And people said, oh, the king must respond. And actually, the king didn't respond because, the monarchy is above that kind of stuff. Leave it to the politicians.
You cannot compare Harry and Andrew. We have Andrew, who's wanted for questioning in America, who Scotland Yard would quite like to talk to, for help in investigating a very serious global scandal. And don't bring Harry into that sort of league. We're talking about a prince who is in disgrace, who's done something clearly
but he hasn't been accused of anything. He's been charged of anything.
Well,
he hasn't been sentenced.
He defends everything.
He's shown deplorable judgment in the court of public opinion. He's a total wrong one. Everybody hates him. But what is the king supposed to respond to? The king is the fountain of justice. He has to respond to concrete, sensible issues at a key moment. He can't just sort of launch a statement on the basis of...
Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to Sussexful. I'm your host, Emma. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Sussexful for the latest updates, real talk, and powerful truths about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Today's video covers the powerful moment when Simon McCoy puts Robert Hardman in his place, shutting down the toxic, unhinged royal commentary against Prince Harry once and for all. It's time people leave Prince Harry alone. He spoke his truth, and the world knows what's really going on. Even royal insiders have admitted uncomfortable truths. Tom Bower once said King Charles doesn't like going to Africa because he doesn't like their culture. Piers Morgan himself once admitted it's not Meghan's fault, and that the royal family has their own issues with racism. This is exactly why the Sussexes had to walk away, to protect their peace, dignity, and their children from the endless smear campaigns. It's disgusting and disgraceful how the British media continues to drag them into scandals that have nothing to do with them. At least Simon McCoy had the courage to speak up and stop the madness. We need more voices like his. So, watch, share, and stand with the Sussexes. Truth always wins. Royal commentary chaos. Simon McCoy delivers a masterclass in media restraint. In a moment of pure journalistic brilliance, Simon McCoy effectively silenced the relentless noise surrounding Prince Harry by shutting down Robert Hardman's inflammatory royal commentary, demonstrating precisely how responsible media professionals should navigate sensitive discussions. McCoy's intervention cut through the sensationalist rhetoric, refusing to allow yet another unproductive narrative that seeks to further malign the Duke of Sussex and his personal truth-telling. By swiftly and decisively freezing the deranged commentary, McCoy not only displayed remarkable professional discipline, but also highlighted the toxic media ecosystem that continually attempts to mischaracterize Harry's experiences and motivations, effectively protecting the integrity of balanced reporting and showing that measured responses can indeed triumph over inflammatory hot takes. Royal truth-telling. Prince Harry's bold revelations. Prince Harry has persistently spoken his personal truth about the toxic dynamics within the British royal family, particularly regarding deeply entrenched allegations of institutional racism. While the Duke of Sussex has been vocal about his experiences, he is not alone in calling out the royal establishment's problematic racial attitudes. Notable commentators like Tom Bower have highlighted uncomfortable racial tensions, with claims suggesting King Charles himself harbors prejudiced views about African cultures, while provocative personalities like Piers Morgan have also publicly acknowledged the royal family's complicated relationship with race and diversity. Harry's candid revelations have exposed a systemic issue that extends far beyond personal grievances, bringing long-whispered conversations about royal racism into mainstream public discourse. Royal racism, exposing the uncomfortable truth behind the monarchy's prejudice. The allegations of racism within the British royal family have been simmering just beneath the surface, with key public figures like Tom Bower revealing uncomfortable truths about systemic prejudice. Bower's pointed observation that King Charles harbors a distinct discomfort with African culture speaks volumes about the deeply entrenched biases that have long plagued the monarchy. Even Piers Morgan, often critical of Harry and Meghan, has conceded that the racist treatment was not Meghan's fault, but rather a systemic issue rooted within the royal institution itself. These revelations underscore the toxic environment that ultimately drove the Sussexes to seek freedom from an establishment more concerned with maintaining archaic, discriminatory traditions than embracing genuine inclusivity and modern sensibilities. The fallout: Sussex's departure from royal toxicity. The Sussex family's departure from the royal institution was not just a personal choice, but a necessary escape from a poisonous environment that continually sought to undermine and marginalize them. Despite the royal family's attempts to disassociate themselves from the escalating commentary, their silence spoke volumes, effectively allowing the relentless and destructive narrative to proliferate. It was particularly disgraceful that among the many voices in the media and royal circles, only a rare few, like Simon McCoy, had the courage to challenge the deranged and often racist rhetoric being perpetuated against Harry and Meghan, leaving the couple exposed to a brutal and unwarranted public crucifixion that seemed designed to drive them into isolation and obscurity. Royal media warfare: how Simon McCoy silenced Hardman's toxic narrative. Robert Hardman's commentary on Prince Harry was nothing short of deranged, a venomous tirade masquerading as journalistic analysis that desperately needed immediate shutdown. Enter Simon McCoy, the veteran broadcaster who swiftly and decisively intervened to freeze the toxic noise surrounding Hardman's unhinged royal commentary. With surgical precision, McCoy effectively neutralized the inflammatory rhetoric, demonstrating exactly why he's considered a master of media moderation, cutting through sensationalism with a cool, authoritative tone that immediately exposed the baseless nature of Hardman's attack on Prince Harry. The unrelenting truth: Prince Harry's exposé of royal racism. Prince Harry has meticulously shared his truth, revealing the deeply entrenched racism within the British royal institution that has long been concealed behind palace walls. The world now understands, with, crystal clarity, that the royal family's systemic racism is not merely a whispered rumor, but a documented reality. Prominent voices like Tom Bower, who highlighted King Charles's discomfort with African culture, and Piers Morgan, who acknowledged the royal family's culpability, have corroborated Harry's explosive claims, effectively dismantling the monarchy's carefully constructed facade of dignified neutrality and exposing the ugly underbelly of institutional prejudice that has persisted for generations. The royal family's dark legacy of racial intolerance. The British royal institution has long harbored an insidious undercurrent of racism that goes far beyond mere microaggressions, creating an environment so toxic that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were essentially forced into exile to preserve their dignity and mental well-being. From whispered comments about Archie's potential skin tone before his birth to systemic exclusionary practices that have historically marginalized people of color, The royal family's institutional racism represents a deeply entrenched problem that cannot be swept under the royal carpet. Prince Harry and Meghan's decision to step back was not merely a personal choice, but a necessary act of self-preservation against a centuries-old system designed to maintain white aristocratic supremacy, demonstrating, honestly, remarkable courage in challenging an archaic institution that has repeatedly shown its inability to evolve or acknowledge its deeply problematic racial dynamics. The silencing of royal gossip, McCoy's bold intervention. In a stunning moment of professional integrity, Simon McCoy decisively intervened to halt Robert Hardman's toxic narrative about Prince Harry, effectively freezing the deranged royal commentary that had spiraled into unproductive and potentially harmful territory. McCoy's swift action demonstrated a rare moment of media restraint, purposefully shutting down the inflammatory discussion and protecting Prince Harry from yet another unwarranted media assault. By cutting through the noise and stopping Hardman's questionable commentary, McCoy not only displayed journalistic responsibility, but also provided a much-needed pause in the relentless media scrutiny surrounding the Duke of Sussex, sending a clear message that there are, boundaries that should not be crossed in public discourse about personal royal narratives. The toxic royal family's shameful betrayal. The disgraceful situation surrounding the Sussex family's treatment epitomizes the royal institution's complete moral failure, with their calculated silence and complicity representing an unacceptable breach of basic human decency. Only one lone voice dared to challenge the relentless media harassment, while the remainder of the royal establishment allowed Prince Harry and Meghan to be systematically torn apart by a vicious racist narrative that exposed the deep-rooted prejudices festering within their gilded walls. Their decision to escape this toxic environment was not just justified, but absolutely necessary for their personal dignity and mental well-being, demonstrating truly remarkable courage in the face of a system designed to marginalize and destroy those who challenge its archaic, discriminatory norms.